Good morning, everybody, and welcome to What's Real in Real Estate. I am Ellie Morris. It's where we talk about what's really happening in the real estate market. And I'm excited to have my special guest today, Joanne Ho, the Joyful Chef. And we'll get to Joanne in just a minute. First, I want to go through the numbers with you. I've got some good news and bad news. The good news is we're all here alive and healthy. The bad news is the numbers are just getting worse. We're down to 1,849 homes for sale. And that is about 3 weeks of supply. I don't know what's going on, but it is just getting tougher and tougher out there. So I tell everybody all the time, when you're out there, be aggressive in your offers and just keep plowing forward. But yeah, 1,849 homes are on the market, single family. 2,480 sold in the last 30 days. And we also have 638 condos and townhomes, and there's still 22 manufacturers' homes waiting for you to come out there and make them your own. Excuse me. Now, I want to go through some of the news that's happened this past week. We've had a lot of things going on. Number one, I don't know if you saw that a judge ruled on the Badlands land over by Queensridge. That was the golf course that has been in dispute for, I think, 4 or 5 years now, whether the golf course has gone to the pot. I wish it had gone to the real pot, but it went to just garbage. So now they want to build some condominiums there. It looks like it's going to plow forward. So those folks that bought it with those beautiful golf views, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Hey, good news for the gaming industry. For the 6th month in a row, $1 billion of profit. They had a $1 billion win for the 6th month in a row.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So we're coming back, man. Vegas is coming back.
Absolutely.
We did see a decline, though, in home sales. New home sales saw a decline for the first time in 8 months. Median price of $414,000, $466 dropped for the first time in over a year, and the closing price of $443,000, $478,000. So there's a difference between the closing price and the median price. But the closing price, that's the actual price people paid, $443,000. That is increased for the 8th month in a row. So we're seeing ups, we're seeing downs, we're seeing something going all over the place. But so far, there's been 7,854 new homes sold year to date, which is 17% up from last year. So we're going, again, Vegas. I know unemployment is tough. We need people to come out and want to go to work. But as far as the housing market, people are coming here. We're still affordable, and you sure can't beat the weather. Oh. I mean, right now, October, Joanne, it can't get better, can it?
No, if it was this way all year, I probably would have moved here a lot longer.
And if it was this way all year long, we'd have San Diego prices. It'd be unaffordable. But it's great. But today is a bit of a somber day for all of us because it was 4 years ago today that the shooting took place over on outside of Mandalay Bay. Initially, 58 people were killed. 2 more died later, so a total of 60 people were killed for no reason at all. Just some guy, it was terrible. But it was 4 years ago today, so we're all thinking about those folks, and they're all in our memories and thoughts and prayers. But what I want to do now, everybody, is introduce you to Joanne Ho. I've known Joanne for maybe a couple of years now.
I think it'll be about 2 years.
Yep.
Because I've been a member 2 years.
We met through the Vegas Chamber. Joanne is the Joyful Chef, and we're going to talk a little bit about what she does. But first, Joanne, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. This is a little exciting for me.
Good.
I've done a few podcasts, but never quite in this format.
Well, we're glad to have you. Real glad to have you. Tell everybody out there a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, what you're all about.
Well, my name is Joanne Ho. I am currently operating a very, very small business called The Joyful Chef. But before I want to provide you with a very short elevator pitch of what the business is.
Sure.
And then I'm going to move into what my background is, and so you understand, because what I provide is a little unique. I'm a private chef now. I go to people's homes, or you come to my home. I am cordon bleu trained. I organize events, team building events, but my primary mission is to raise funding to subsidize the couple of charities that I wholeheartedly support here in Las Vegas. And at one point, when I first moved here, I was doing this on my own. Well, I still am, but paying for everything out of my pocket. And finally, my accountant shook me and he says, no one spends this much money on food. And where's all your money going? And I'm like, you need to monetize some of this or be reimbursed. So anyway, I am originally from California, northern, but relocated to Southern California. I was recruited by Disney. I'm a Disney retiree, ex-executive. I was a director of leasing for 22 years. I took early retirement, happened to come through Las Vegas where a few family members reside in. Oh my goodness, it's cheap. It's really inexpensive.
That's one thing about
here.
Vegas. People don't. It is very affordable to live here.
Well, I come from Pasadena, and that is, I saw everything. And one of the things that truly attracted me to Las Vegas was I immersed myself into the charities. Mostly, first 2 years was with Three Square and another organization called the Cupcake Girls.
Yeah.
And one thing I found here is the collaboration between charities is unbelievable. They do not compete for resources. They collaborate. The generosity of this community is...
Isn't it something else? You know, I come from Detroit, and I used to be proud of Detroit because I wasn't involved in charities as a young kid, but I always noticed the Jerry Lewis Telethon every single year. New York was the number one giving city, but they had so big. Number two every single year was Detroit, Michigan. They gave more money to Jerry Lewis than any other city other than New York. And I get to Las Vegas, and I say, man, this is a charitable giving community.
I'm absolutely blown away by it.
Me too.
And so I was with Disney for almost 22 years. I was able to take a break. I took a 16-month sabbatical and went to the Cordon Bleu. That was about 10, 12 years into my job because I just love food. I just love food. Then I went back to work. And when I retired in 16 and relocated here, I put that passion to work with the charities. Very quickly, my background is I am first generation. My parents immigrated here after World War II.
From where?
China. They escaped communism, and I'm not speaking about politics or anything. They just escaped, made a life for them here, and I'm just very fortunate. We were, what I would say, a little poor when I was young, growing up, and I've had such fortune in my life that there's nothing that brings me more joy than helping others. And I'm not just, that's people say that, but this is what I spend my time doing. And what else but through food? So I can't believe when we've started to move out of the pandemic, the relationships and everyone I have met have come to me and have been generous through their donations, because that's part of what I do, pay for the food, pay for my expenses, and then make a donation to the charities. That's what I cost. And I love it. Nothing puts a smile bigger on my face. So
it's all about giving. I mean, we grow up in America, and listen, I love it here, but we are a bit of a greedy society. And, you know, when you can give back a little bit and make a small difference in somebody's life, there's nothing better than that.
That's exactly, and I see it here. So I'm extremely hooked into, I'm going to use that term, hooked into local charities.
Well, I got one for you, because I don't know if you know about this, if you saw it on Facebook, but Wednesday night, I'm going to be modeling a bra that I'm designing. You see it? You didn't happen to see it. It's called Bras for a Cause.
No, I haven't seen
We
that.
are raising, do you see it, Beta? Yeah. We're raising money for breast cancer victims that are going through treatment right now. It lets them go on a little vacation for free. It gives them a little downtime during this very difficult time. And we're going to be at the Parkway Tavern on 215 in Flamingo from 4 to 7. And there's myself and 10 other guys, or 9 other guys. There's 10 of us total. And we all are designing our own brassieres. And then we're going to auction those brassieres off. I'm using a Raider theme, silver and black. But they all do different things. I mean, we auction those off to raise money for these gals. It's $50. It includes a couple of drinks, all your food. It's going to be a great, great time. But yeah, there's so much of that goes on in this town. Absolutely.
And one of the things that I am working with a number of charities here is I've created gift certificates for basically cooking private culinary experiences with me. the money, minus the cost of the food, goes all to charity. Actually, a few of them, the Refuge for Women is one of my big charities.
That's a great organization.
And I'm putting together a few auction items for them, and all of it's going to them because they do wonderful work here.
I just met somebody from there last week at a chamber event.
Robin? Was
Yes.
it Robin Smith?
Yes. Yeah.
She's a director, an
Yep.
amazing woman that
Oh,
just does nothing but
another
give.
great. There are so many great. We have so many charitable organizations. I can tell you, people that don't live in Vegas or only come in and have a good time, which we love you to come in and gamble and eat food and all that stuff, but they don't realize what a community we have here.
You know, when I retired, my goal was to relocate to Hawaii. And after I spent a little time here, I thought, oh my goodness, I can afford to live quite comfortably
Yeah.
and travel. And then I just really immersed myself in this community.
Yeah, it's great.
Well,
4 years ago today, I woke up and my phone had been blown up, man. There were texts from back home. Everybody was, are you okay? What's happening? I don't watch the news, especially at night. So I didn't know about the shooting until I got up that next morning.
Oh.
And my wife and I, we got threw our clothes on. We found out what we could do. We hopped in the car, ran and bought a bunch of water. We went to one of those locations to just help hand out water and just do whatever we could do. And we were so pleasantly surprised at how this community got together. We're 2.4 million people. And somehow within moments, everybody was able to organize it, get together, and help each other out.
The culinary community came together, threw their food trucks together, or created the food to help feed the first responders, and all the follow-up in terms of it, just absolutely giving. Just like when the pandemic first hit, same thing with the unemployed, everyone who lost their jobs or were laid off, or temporarily laid off. All they did was go out and volunteer to create food, hand out. It's just I really love this community for that more than anything else. The summer 3-digit heat, I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, I don't mind it in June, even by part of July. So by the end of August, I've had enough of it. I could take only so much. But you're right, those 3 months is pretty rough. But that's it.
Oh.
Other than that, you've got 9 months of just paradise, man.
Absolutely.
And even some of the 100 degree, I don't mind 100. It's 110 and 112, 117. That's when it gets a little rough.
Ellie, you've adapted like I have. When I first moved here, I kept the thermostat at 68. I'm like, this is too hot. My thermostat's at 80 now.
Yeah.
And now it's like, today I have a little jacket on, and it's 80, 78.
Well, it's actually this morning, I went out for a bike ride. I wish I had put on long sleeves because it was cold. I think the temperature when I got up was something like 63. And man, it was, so it's a great, great time to be in Las Vegas right now.
Oh, absolutely. And this life is so different. And I have to say this. I've been very fortunate. I was able to retire very early. Thank you, Mr. Mouse, Mickey Mouse. But in the late 80s when China first opened up, because they'd been closed to the world, my mother and I found our way back to our ancestral village. The kids did not have shoes. They had no running water. It was like walking into a time warp. And it was actually that moment, that trip, that it struck me that I really have a life of abundance.
Yeah.
And we took numerous trips back there, loading little vans up in Hong Kong with denim and things like that, and the appreciation. So, this is a great town. The real estate, I have to say, Ellie, if I knew then what I know now when I first moved here, I looked at houses and I looked at property and I thought, I don't know this place. I don't want another crash and the market's not stable. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Well, that's the story of all of our lives. Yeah, listen, who knows? You never know. But the market, this is a great place to have bought real estate whenever, and it's still a great place to buy real estate because, again, it's affordable, and we still have plenty of room. We can still grow. We're at 2.4 million. They say we could probably max out, because we're surrounded by the mountains, there's only so much room we have. But, it's a...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
One of the statistics that you shared with us is there's only enough... The numbers that you gave us is available inventory for what, 18 months, did you?
No. It's about 3 weeks. 1,800 homes.
Excuse me, I had the number backwards.
Yeah.
Does that anticipate the completion of all this construction that's going
No,
on?
no, no. That's
Okay.
just single-family resale homes
Okay.
only. But new construction has slowed down a little bit. They've slowed up. And one of the problems with new construction is because of all these supplies that we can't get.
Exactly.
And maybe a piece of wood cost $1, a year ago. Today it's $5, and they don't know if it's going to go up. So they have to be. They can't
Okay.
project as far out as they used to.
Okay, because, no, I got the numbers backwards
Yeah.
then. It's like,
Yeah, 1,800 is crazy, man. But talk about, did you ever have your own restaurant or food service?
oh, let me explain that. No, I do not come from a culinary experience other than I went to the Cordon Bleu, I'm a graduate, did my
Now,
internship.
Cordon Bleu, is that here in Las Vegas?
They had them, at that time I went to the one that was in Pasadena.
Okay.
They're based out of Paris, but I did my internship in London.
But they have one here, don't they now?
They closed.
Oh,
That was,
okay.
but, so I did my internship in London, and in fact, I was in Chinatown Chinatown, eating bowl noodles when Disney called me back and said, okay, we've already organized the position we told you would be here. Are you coming back to work or we're giving it away?
Now, have you been to our Chinatown?
Oh, yes.
It's not much of a Chinatown, really.
No, not really. There's.
They call it Chinatown, but
It's where there's a concentration of Asian food, but it's not really.
that's really
yeah.
about Asian food, because there's probably more Korean restaurants than there are Chinese restaurants, but they
and-
call it Chinatown.
This is the one place I've never quite experienced. When you open a menu, you'll have Thai, Cambodian,
Oh, yeah.
Japanese, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not a Phoenix Garden,
Yeah.
Chinese restaurant.
I know, it is kind of, but there are some great restaurants down
Yeah.
there, and there's some good steakhouses down in Chinatown, too.
There's a lot of, the variety is actually, this is a melting pot. Now, I'm not originally from here, but this is a melting pot.
Oh, it
I
is.
mean,
It really
and I
is.
think it's for opportunity purposes and,
And as far as culinary, we are the only city to have let me get it right, five-star Michelin, I believe it is. New York's the other one.
Yes.
New York and Las Vegas. That's it in the world.
that's because.
That's pretty amazing.
It's because, well, I think it has to do with the entertainment industry.
Oh, sure.
And every major, what kind of food czar, James Beard Award winner
Yeah,
chefs
right,
have
right.
wanted to open it, and they've been approached to open a second restaurant, third restaurant, or whatever. And it's not all super expensive, fine dining. They open a whole variety of types of levels of
Oh,
culinary.
absolutely. Do you have favorite restaurants here in town?
They're small. I have, and it keeps changing because restaurants are opening left and right. I mean, I'm sorry, a lot of people did lose their businesses
Yeah.
but a lot of new businesses took the opportunity last year, says, this is my opportunity to get a lease, get the space. So I do have a few. So I go back to my roots, and Artisan Noodles is one of them.
Artisan Noodles. Where's that?
That's on Tropicana. And to be honest with you, my kitchen is my favorite, so I had no problem during the pandemic. I was feeding everyone around me. And see, now you've kind of stumped me because it's all kind of running through my head what I want to eat.
Well, let's talk about that. What's your favorite food to cook?
Barbecue.
Barbecue, ribs,
Everything.
hamburger, hot
Everything.
dogs?
Not
Korean barbecue.
No, I barbecue. I love barbecue.
Now, gas or charcoal?
I have a flat top smoker, gas grill, gas top, flat top, charcoal, and a smoker. I have 4.
Oh, you got them
grills.
all.
I bought my first Weber was when I was 14 years old.
Yes, all I use is Weber.
A Weber charcoal grill.
Mhm.
I brought it home, saved all my summer's paychecks, brought it home, and my parents said, who cooks on fire like that?
Yeah.
Only poor people cook on fire like that. We have a gas stove. Why do you do? Oh, you got to try this. Smoke a turkey.
I smoke a lot on the Weber.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a time when this is something I'm proud of. I'm 66 years old. I have been barbecuing all my life. I've never, ever bought propane. Not once. Not one time ever in my life. I have had homes that had gas grills
Mm-hmm.
built into the ground or plugged into the house, but I always had a Weber alongside of it.
I got to tell you this, Ellie. I have the attachment propane or the gas that comes out of the house
Yeah.
just doesn't burn as hot as propane.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and power is what it's all about, and control. So I never have plugged, all the homes I've owned, I've had the ability to have it hooked up. I use propane.
Interesting. I
But
didn't know the difference.
I use propane because it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
The charcoal, the genuine using charcoal is better.
Well, look, there's no question. When I had both of them, I'm on them, go football Sunday, I make a couple dogs. I wasn't putting the grill together. I was turning on the gas. So there's no question. It's a lot easier. Boom, you're in and out. But I love the challenge of using charcoal, and I love the flavor that charcoal brings.
Absolutely. I actually just came home with 3 bags of cherry wood, the traditional mesquite, and alderwood.
Now, do you use, when you do use charcoal, do you use like the briquettes?
I use some briquettes and then I throw, it depends on what I'm making.
I use lump now. All I'm using is lump charcoal.
It depends on what I'm making.
Okay.
It depends on what I'm making, because chicken, it depends if it's something that cooks a little more quickly. Fish goes very fast if I want it a little smoky. Pork, if it's a pork butt, if it's a long term, then I will use lump coal.
Okay.
So it just depends on.
'Cause lump coal seems to last longer, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah, I love it. And I watch YouTube to learn which is the best charcoal to buy. And I've got it narrowed down to Cowboy is one brand.
Yes, excellent.
And red, I forget the other one. So kind of an orange-red bag. I found this bag of charcoal. It's got to be a 35-pound bag at Costco. At Walmart. It's like $16. It's cheap, and I love it. I do enjoy barbecuing. Nothing better than smoke. And I'll take fish. I put it in the center and smoke it. Smoke the fish or cook it indirectly.
But it goes very quickly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But so it's not just barbecuing, because I used to make my own rubs. That was my Christmas gift to my staff. I would make little jars, big jars of it when at
Nice.
Christmas. But believe it or not, I love Italian food, so I teach a lot of pasta classes.
Let's talk about your teaching. We're going to have a lot of time with it. I'm going to spend some time on that. Talk about how you'll come into someone's home and you'll teach them, or
Yes.
you'll cook. Talk about
do,
that.
I do two things. Well, I cook. There are classes in my home, or I am happy to travel. Cook will
Okay.
travel. What I do is I will visit to get the lay of the land. I bring everything, all the equipment, from pots, pans, tongs, food. It's kitchen will travel. Sometimes I really do hope they have a decent stove. If they don't, that's a problem. Then I will tell them, you come here instead. And it also depends on what I'm making or what I'm teaching. I tailor the classes to the client's preferences.
So you'll come to someone's home and they're going to make them a meal. You're going to teach them the whole lot. You're not just going to make it for them. You're going to teach them.
It's both.
Okay.
Because I have had, for example, a good friend of ours, Steve.
Yep.
It was a gift to his wife for her Mother's Day, I believe. Her mother watched, but she participated. Then he started participating.
Okay.
So I'm finding that people, I give classes for groups. So girls' night out, so they'll come over, or I'll come over, and some don't want to touch anything, and a few will sit there and say, I want to do, people participate as much as they want.
It sounds pretty fancy schmancy. Is it real expensive to have someone come over to someone's house and do that?
Again, I have to tell you, it depends on what you want, because I tailor the menu to the group.
Yeah.
I'll do generic classes and say, this is what I'm offering. Then I'll ask, is there any preferences? Do you not eat seafood, or do you not prefer? I did one of those I call it my Julia Child's beef bourguignon classes, because I am French trained. I had one of the participants, 6 of them they're from one of the large banks. I don't eat beef. I'm like, oh my God, it's a beef bourguignon class. You don't eat beef. I ended up doing a separate chicken thing for her, and she cooked along, but I had the ingredients for her. The cost is the cost of the food, plus my expenses, which is I have to cover, which is the tins and a donation to charity.
Yeah.
And I do this because I don't do this for a living. I do it because it brings me joy.
I know
it brings
that.
people joy.
You're the joyful cook?
Yeah, and that's it. I do it. That really, sometimes it raises a little money, so that when I do something like at the house, the refuge house, and I do a dinner for the ladies, they don't participate. They just want to watch. They don't want to. The smile on their face, the smile on my face, says it all.
I can imagine. Oh,
But that's what I do.
Yeah.
I'll either come to your home, cook for you. Most people end up wanting to participate at one point or another. Perhaps not through. I'll assign you. You want to do this? Sure. You don't want to do it? I'll do it. You know. And we would have worked all of this out in advance in terms of the menu
Okay.
to make sure everyone's preferences are met. Or you come to my home, and because I have all the equipment for pasta making, you will use a hand crank.
So you make your own pasta, huh?
Oh, the pasta class is actually one of the most popular
I'll
classes.
bet.
Yeah, and then we'll learn to make a couple of different sauces. Everyone who leaves my home from pasta never buy pasta again.
I can
They
imagine.
don't, for the most part, buy sauce anymore.
I make the greatest sauce. I buy a can of sauce, put a little butter in there, garlic, and then I'm done. That's my sauce.
Ellie.
I'll bet it's a little more complex to make your sauce.
Actually, it's not.
No?
That's what blows people away. It's the ingredients that you use. You buy a can of tomatoes. Canned tomatoes are $1.79 for 32 ounces. San Marzano, which are Italian,
I've seen those.
almost $4 a can.
Okay.
But there is a notable difference between the two. Those tomatoes are grown, they're from Italy, grown at the base of Mount Mizuno. I don't believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, but one of their volcanoes. That's it. It cannot be called a San Marzano tomato if it's
Unless
not
it comes from there.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
Champagne.
Huh.
So it comes from Champagne region.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you open the can and I'll show them the comparison, there is no you cannot not notice the difference.
That's cool.
So it's the ingredients. Actually,
Yeah, I'm sure it is. That's got to be. And the chef.
Yeah.
The chef must have something to do with it, too.
no. Can opener.
That's great. That's cool. That's very cool. Well, let's talk about some other things in Vegas, because I know you don't go out to restaurants a lot because you cook
No,
better than...
actually, it's true. What I will not make, but I love, and it's a Vietnamese pho. It's the Vietnamese noodle soup, because there's about 20 ingredients, 16 hours of creating the broth. They make them in these 25 or more gallon vats. You don't do that at home.
How about pizza? You like pizza?
I love pizza.
You got a favorite pizza place? Do you make pizza yourself?
I do make
You
pizza.
just see, she makes everything. I'm
pizza.
coming over, Joanne.
I make pizza. I make pizza, but actually, it's Good Pie on Las Vegas Boulevard is one of my favorites.
Good Pie. Never heard of that place.
It's called Good Pie. It's it's across from that pawn place, the pawnbroker place.
Oh, okay.
What's it called? Las Vegas Gold.
Gold, yeah.
It's
Well, Pawn
right
Stars is...
Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
They are fantastic, and I think that I'm introduced to it when I first moved here, because I really didn't know anyone other than a few family members, and I dove into all the charities. You can't help but support and patronize the places that are generous to the
No, you're absolutely
that are
right.
generous to the charities.
You're absolutely right.
So that's how I found them.
Oh, that's great. We got to kind of wrap this up now,
Okay.
but tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
I am the Joyful Chef, Joanne at thejoyfulchef.com, or call me at 818-625-8482. I have a little website. Don't bother with that. Just email me, Joanne at thejoyfulchef.com, and Joyful has 2 L's, or 818-625-8482, and I'll put something together for you.
Great.
I will tell you right now, I'm booked almost solid through the end of the year.
That's beautiful.
But,
That's beautiful.
Anyway.
Well, we got a few things. By the way, I was at Gilcrease Orchard. Have you ever been to Gilcrease? Have you heard of that? Gilcrease Orchard? You
I
could pick
have not-
apples.
I know the place. I
Yeah.
have been up there and didn't like the variety that were being offered, so I left.
Okay.
It's-
Well, I was there yesterday. I picked up
Oh.
some Armenian cucumbers, which I'd never heard
Those are
of.
wonderful. Those are wonderful.
They look cool. They're kind of weird looking, but yeah, I'm going to try them out. And, of course, bought some cider and donuts, the
They're
traditional
super
stuff.
crispy and
Okay.
sweet. They're
Oh,
super
okay.
crunchy.
Oh, good. I'll give it a shot. Hey, listen, Monday Night Football, Raiders, don't forget that. And please come on out to the Parkway Tavern October 6th, this Wednesday from 4 to 7. Support Bras for a Cause. Look at, bring your cameras. You can take pictures of me and hold me hostage as a bail.
I have to ask, which Parkway Tavern?
Parkway Tavern on 215 and Tropicana.
Okay.
I mean Flamingo, 215 and Flamingo.
Okay, it's that one.
Yeah, and if you come out, it's $50. It includes drinks, food, and you can make fun of me all you want, but raising money for a great cause, and that's what it's all about, raising money for a great cause. So
Yeah.
Bras for a Cause, Parkway Tavern, October 6th. Joanne, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank
I wish
you.
we had more time.
Oh,
This
no.
was great.
Thank you for inviting me, but I'm going to have to create some sauce for you.
Okay.
Or gravy, what they call it. Okay.
That's right. Beta, thanks again, man.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.